Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome everyone to this special event. This is really our opportunity to connect you with our program staff from around the world. Today we're really excited to be talking about our Girls in School initiative and how education is the strongest path out of poverty. So let's get started. I'll go first. My name is Karen Holbrook and I'm the Director of Annual Giving and Development here at Lutheran World Relief. Today I'm at my home office in Northampton, Massachusetts. I typically work out of the Baltimore office. Now I will turn it over to Teresa.
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Teresa Hahn, and I'm the Senior Director for Major Gifts Development. I lead the donor advisor team and our donor engagement team, including Grace, who invited some of you. So I'm really thrilled that you're joining us. I'm coming in from my home office in Boston, suburban Boston, but I work out of the Baltimore office as well. And I'm also going to introduce you to Hannah Graham, who is the Managing Director for CGA Technologies. Hannah designed and manages the monitoring system that is the basis for the Girls in School initiative. So I think that we're in very good hands with Hannah today. And we also welcome Nancy Makande, who is the project manager for the Girls in School initiative based in Sierra Leone. And she works directly with the girls, their families, and the educators. So Hannah, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm so thrilled that you're here today. Thank you for taking the time, for you and Nancy to take the time.
Thanks so much for inviting us. We're really pleased to be able to speak to this group today about the wonderful work with these girls, which is really such a privilege. So we'd love to introduce to you the Girls in School initiative and its achievements over the last year, and what we see for it going forward. So thanks very much. There are 122 million girls that are out of school around the world, and that's really why we're focused on this as a key issue. While the reasons for this can vary from country to country, we do see some common barriers to schooling for these girls. And indeed, in Sierra Leone, these serve as real hurdles to so many girls. So I'd love to talk to you a little bit about what those are, but really a key thread that runs through all of the challenges that these girls face is poverty. So you're just about to sort of see that as the slide's pulling back up here. But many girls in Sierra Leone face this, as you won't be surprised to hear. These circumstances really limit their freedom to simply be children. Poverty requires children and girls in particular often to shoulder adult responsibilities far too early. Many of them are forced to become providers, and that's why we see so many of them not attending school as they frankly would love to. We want to really shift them away from this, away from having to shoulder these responsibilities, and instead towards building their futures. Girls without financial stability are so much more at risk of child labor, of child marriage, and other forms of abuse. Being in school is really actually quite protective. But poverty also just affects them in the ways that you'd expect. So lacking the resources that they need to attend school, from school supplies to a hot meal, to menstrual products that they need, or as well just simple factors like transport to school, especially if girls live quite far from the nearest one. So what the Girls in School initiative is working to do in Sierra Leone and also beyond, as you'll hear later on, is to lighten that load. Girls in School, or GISI as we call it for short, is really there to create space for those girls to learn and grow and have choices about what their own futures look like. So this work that you're going to hear more about today is not just done by us, but it actually really depends on other partners, our partnership with government and others who are already doing such great work. And this approach that we have and that we're going to tell you more about really builds upon and leverages that other existing good work. And it's through all of that together that we are working to try to help these girls overcome these barriers themselves. So just as an overview, before we get a bit more detail about what Girls in School looks like and how it works in Sierra Leone. So we work with government, as I mentioned, and with the Ministry of Education in building data systems. So those data systems are actually already up and working in schools. So they're systems that we help them to build, but they're very much run by government and by schools and teachers themselves. And they have trusted us to use that data for this program, to give us a clear picture on who is at school or not at school, and how best to reach and support these girls. And so we use that to provide monthly cash payments to those girls and then monitor the impact of that. And so data and these other partnerships and these other systems are a really key part of what we're doing here and a part of an overarching sort of synergistic approach, which we'll talk more about. There is a video that we're going to show you, which helps highlight how important and how kind of different this program is, how it works, how these different partnerships, particularly with government and other organizations who are already doing good work, how that all works. Please keep these other stakeholders in mind as you watch. We do actually think of all of these stakeholders as part of our GISI community.
Education is the most powerful investment we can make to end poverty, but many low-income countries face immense challenges in providing quality education for all, leaving millions of children out of school. For children who do attend, their learning often suffers from teacher shortages, limited materials, and inadequate facilities. And financial and social challenges force many children, especially girls, to drop out early.
I would say poverty is key in Sierra Leone because poverty can lead into so many other things. We have a lot of communities that do not have schools. There are still some areas where we have gaps, where we have shortage of teachers.
If my mother and my family, they have some money, I cannot left education, but my family don't have nothing. So my mama and my papa, them don't die. So now I don't have nobody to support me.
I do not have enough classroom. I have 6 classrooms, and even those classrooms, they are overcrowded. You see, in one classroom I have 139.
Solving these challenges requires data to know which children are missing out, where and what to invest in, and whether those investments are working. Data that many countries simply don't have.
I've been student for 3 years, and they go to school. I don't have somebody who can support me in my education. I will left, I drop at streets. I don't have somebody.
With your support, we designed an innovative digital platform and approach to fill exactly these data gaps. In Sierra Leone, it is known as WIDIA, or We're Here.
With the help of WIDIA, can tell you the absenteeism, the rate of absenteeism, either it's high or low. By so doing that, we find those children in their homes and ask the problem, ask their parents, why your kid is not in school today.
This software gives education ministries unprecedented insights to understand who the individual children are and to identify and address the barriers that these children face. School leaders record individual student and teacher data directly into the app, logging daily attendance and other critical data. This information uploads to a secure database for analysis so that those students with low attendance or who have additional needs can be identified and targeted for support, preventing them from dropping out. It also allows education officials to understand the teaching workforce and strengthen it.
There are teachers, but we don't have enough qualified teachers, especially in the rural communities and the hard-to-reach areas.
With our project, we have to emphasize on helping the teachers that actually go the extra mile to meet the parents and talk with them. You can go and check and ask what is the problem and make some recommendations, give some guides.
They are absent for a number of days. You want to find out why that girl is not in school. We go to less privileged areas to ensure that every district, every chiefdom has facilities address the issues of out-of-school children.
With this new data, education leaders can target solutions from understanding and filling teacher gaps to verifying school funding and supporting the learners most in need.
It is complete change. We pray that this project will last for long because it creates an impact to our children.
This year, I started to come to school. Teachers, they are assisting me. They are encouraging me. Let us don't stop to come to school. Yeah, nothing will make I stop to come to school again. I want to be a somebody tomorrow. I will change my community.
This software has the power to revolutionize education, ensuring all students and teachers have what they need to succeed.
Thanks very much for sharing that. So I always get a a little misty watching Mary there, but you've seen a little there about the importance of taking a data-driven approach to addressing some of these barriers, and you heard from Dr. Musa, who's an incredible dedicated official, by the way, in the Ministry of Education. But the strength of feeling that she and others have for this issue. And it's because of the catalytic positive impact that schooling has, not only on these girls as individuals, but this affects communities, this affects society as a whole. So one thing we wanted to highlight is that, for each year that a girl like Mary, who you saw in the video, stays in school, she increases her future earning potential by 20%. Which is really, quite profound, and it's quite clear the impact that that has on girls and young women, and frankly, on families more broadly. Girls who stay in school are less likely to be abused, pulled into early marriage. As a result, they're also more likely to raise a healthier, better educated family in turn. So this catalytic positive impact is really important, and as we see it, it's a sort of moral imperative for us to work on. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what we have done with girls in school so far, before I'll hand over to my colleague Nancy to talk to you about the results. So in terms of what we've done, so year one, the pilot year of girls in school in Sierra Leone. So we worked with the government to build a really comprehensive data system, which you learned about on the video there. And that works at the school and shares information all the way from the school up to the Minister for Education himself. So it tells us who's enrolled at the school and key pieces of information that help us understand if the girls are vulnerable, and why. And based on that, we select qualifying girls to become part of the programme. And the system then monitors their attendance each day with the teachers reporting into it. So we send cash each month to these girls via mobile money. Families have a mobile money account on their phone. But But this money is only sent on the condition that girls continue to attend school. So that requirement is kind of baked into the model itself. And then we're tracking if indeed those girls are not attending for any reason. If they're not, then there's follow-up, supportive follow-up to check in. Are they okay? Is there anything else going on? Do they need any additional support? So in 2024, in the academic year that ended, just at the beginning of the summer we enrolled 882 girls in 26 schools. Now, the reason that wasn't the full 1,000 was just linked to some of the data and the criteria that we had applied and how that kind of panned out. But we worked across 26 schools across 4 of the country's 16 districts. So we paid them throughout the academic year. And that ended this summer. So I'm going to hand you over to my colleague Nancy Makande, who's the GISI project manager working in Sierra Leone. Now, Nancy's very humble. She won't say this herself, but so she's from Zimbabwe, but she has really dedicated herself to using all of her experience and diligence and passion into running this project kind of day in, day out. And I'm sure that passion is going to come through as she talks to you. But yeah, thank you very much to Nancy.
Thank you, Hannah. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone on the call. So I'm going to be talking about the exciting part of the project, what we've achieved in year 1 of implementation. And we're really proud as a team of what we've managed to achieve and be able to speak to you on what the data is showing us so far. So we did observe that with the cash transfers, there was an improvement in attendance for the learners that were benefiting from the cash. So we observed a 4% higher attendance rate for all the GISI girls throughout the time they were receiving the cash and compared to other learners. And we also observed that particularly for the learners who are over age for their classes, those who are between 14 to 16 years of age, there was a 10% high attendance rate among those, showing that the cash did help to support them to stay in school, particularly for this age group. We also noted that for all the learners that we were supporting with the cash transfers, very few fell below the attendance rate of 80%. Which was really good. And we're really proud that with this cash support, we're able to support the girls to retain them in school and support them with other school materials that they needed to stay in school. With this project focusing on attendance and retention, which was our main goal and what we wanted to achieve, we also observed that the cash went beyond just providing materials for the learners to stay in school. We observed wider impact in terms of what the cash has managed to achieve and support the learners beyond the classrooms. So we put together a couple of feedback quotations that we received from the team, from the different beneficiaries that we've engaged with throughout the implementation of the project, so that we can share with you for you to get an understanding of what it's like to work with them. I mean, when we are looking at this project, it's easier for us to focus on the data, how many people we've reached. But I believe most of the impact that we have on these girls is recorded in the individual stories that you get to hear from these girls, from how much this cash has managed to support them. Simple things like having a school uniform boost their confidence to be in school. We allow them to be kids and to fit in with other kids as well, and be able to concentrate in school because they are not going to school hungry. When you listen to the individual stories of some of these girls, they keep on telling you that now I have lunch money to go to school. So sometimes you can just look at lunch money and just think, it's just little. But to them, it means a lot. They're able to concentrate in school because they have this support. And I will let you read. I will not go through all the quotations that we've put together for you to just get to understand how these girls feel. I mean, borrowing also from the famous words by Maya Angelou, people will forget what you said, they will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you make them feel. And these girls really feel special, they feel remembered, and they feel confident and motivated to stay in school. We also observed that beyond the classroom, this cash also allowed the families to utilize the cash for other things. They were spillover effects in households where there were other learners who are also in primary school, were not selected for this project, or who are attending a different school. We're also able to benefit from the cash with lunch money or with uniforms as well. You would hear most of the caregivers always like speaking about it, how these cash has managed to support their other children in the household. They were also able to buy things like soap to support like hygiene in the household, electricity. In a country like Sierra Leone, we currently have challenges with electricity in most homesteads. So they get to buy like solar lamps for the learners to read during the night. And this cash really facilitated for most of the caregivers to be able to provide this for the learners. I will read out this last quotation. I really thank God the money helps us to buy electricity, toiletries, plus other materials which help us to be happy at home. That happiness, when you speak to them, you can feel the happiness that they have with this cash transfer. So I would like to just say thank you so much for supporting this project and allowing us to reach these girls and support them to stay in school. I will hand over to Hannah. Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy. So I wanted to introduce you to some of the other members of the GISI community and just give you a quick chance to hear from them. I won't read all of this out, but Conrad Saki is the Minister for Basic and Senior Secondary Education in Sierra Leone. He's a real champion of supporting these girls and of, in particular, the outsized impact that we can have when we work in this way and use data in this way. Sierra Leone has really been, trying to drive these more innovative approaches and evidence-based approaches. I particularly appreciated his point, though, about gaining joy from the realization that you're helping these girls to build a future where they're independent. He was very clear about sort of shifting. Some of them really do feel dependent. They don't feel that they have agency, and shifting to a position where they are more independent. I thought that was quite meaningful. Similarly, Jamilatu Kuroma from the Human Rights Commission highlights her own experience as an example of what education can provide and the social mobility that it can provide, which I just thought was quite meaningful. And Bob Lamin, so at the Rainbow Centre. Now, the Rainbow Centre in Sierra Leone is renowned for its work supporting survivors of sexual and gender-based violence in particular, and it's a partner in GISI. He highlights the real synergy that comes from taking an approach like this that builds upon what's already there and adds value to it. So we wanted to share this with you as well, because he cites the proverb, if you want to go far, go with others. If you want to go fast, go alone. Just to me, that really summarizes what we're trying to do here. Not just run a project, sort of stand alone for today, but to build an approach and a movement via this community, this girls in school community of people who are all playing their part. Because we know from our experience, Nancy and the team on the ground who see the impact that this work has on these girls, that providing the support, in helping these girls, what I was talking about earlier, really remaining children and focusing on building their futures. So as I just wanted to highlight those points to you briefly, but we're going to move on to another video just now and hear from two very special girls and how it affects them.
My grandmother and my father and my mother, they die the same day. My friends, they are going to school, but me, I'm not coming to school. In the village, you cannot go to schools. Always work on the farm, always on the farm.
I talked to my husband that if we leave her to the village, her education is done. She will just be dropouts. In the village, no one cares. What they know when you grow up, they find you a man who married you. That's what they're good at. I'm the one who took her from the village. Things were very difficult by then. I was selling yogurt. In Potloko here, we only have electricity during rainy season because of the hydro. For dry season, the hydro is dried up, so I have no way to sell the yogurts. I find it difficult to take care of the children.
When I don't have the uniform, I always come with slippers in school. My friends have been laughing at me. He said my parents are poor. I don't even study because in the night, if you don't have food to eat, you cannot able to study. When the stomach is aching and then you hold the book, you can not feel good. Last year, I don't come to school because I was having stomach ache. I don't have lunch at that time. When I go home, there is no food.
The children cannot get what you are teaching them. You are telling them of something. At the same time, they will be thinking of food. They will be thinking of things, the problems at home. They will not comprehend.
I used to sell water to find my lunch. She passed along the street and then she saw me selling. She decided to take me to my house and asked my auntie why she don't send me to school here in Fawe. My auntie said, I don't have money.
She cares for them. It's just because she did not have the funds.
Just for us to survive and for her to have some lunch. It was not intentional. I don't mean to do that, but it's just for our survival, you know. Because even it came to a point where my husband and I decided to take her back to the village because of the financial constraints. And I told him, no, it's not supposed to be that way. We'll sacrifice, brought her here, so we need to be patient. God has a reason for everything. And you came to our aid. And that was so great. That is so great.
When the program comes, he said, I will not take you and your brother and sisters again to the village so that you cannot lose this opportunity. She said she will not leave me again. I come to school more. 5 days in the week. I come to school. I lead the assembly sometimes. In the evening, I go and take my bag to come and sit and hold my book and study. Any night, my uncle will take the blackboard and put it outside so that she can study me. My auntie come and buy me the uniform and the shoes.
But now that they see that they can wear clean clothes, they can wear fine uniform like colleagues, no more comparison. Pose was the saddest child that we had before. If you cannot see her laugh, she's now moving. She's now gradually changing.
Every day when she goes to school, we give her lunch. And even I take some part of the money I've been saving, and the day for her birthday, I went to school and surprised her. she was so excited. I feel so excited, because I did not have that power before. It's your support, and I made it possible.
And she surprised me with a birthday cake, which I don't never expect. And after the end of the day, when I go home, I asked her where did she pull the money to surprise me. She said it's from the money that they have been sending for you. I save. I feel good because she never celebrates my birthday with birthday cake.
We really come to school regularly, and others are also following. They are improving. The learning outcome is improving. I want to thank you very much. We pray that God will touch them, and we pray that this joy will continue to flow to those that are also in need.
She's happy every day she's in school. This lunch I've been giving her makes her feel motivated. Portia is so intelligent, and that's what I like about her. She's very passionate about the education. She's very focused in school. I see her future so bright. I should not allow Portia to go back to the village. I think when she educated, maybe, he will be someone in the future,
When the teacher asks what is our previous lesson, I can able to answer. I can go to the university. Then I done my university. I want to be a pilot so that I can save my aunt, my uncle, and my grandmom.
Well, there's no real way to follow the words from Pose, so I'm just going to leave you with that, but talk a little more about what comes next for year two. So year two of Girls in School is basically sees an expansion in Sierra Leone and us kicking off in a new country for us, which is Mali. So why Mali and Sierra Leone, you might ask? Well, essentially both, have been affected by conflict in the region. There is history of girls being disadvantaged. There's just significant need. However, we also have an established partnership with government in both countries. So we've been working with the Ministry of Education in Mali for a number of years now. And it also uses a version of what in Sierra Leone is called Wideya. In Mali, it's called Jikitubu, which means hope. That was named by the Ministry of Education. So this means that what we can do, we can continue to track these girls, target them effectively, and target cash and resources where they're most needed. So just delving a little more into Sierra Leone, particularly, we're going to be trying to reach 2,000 girls this year in 60 schools and in 5 districts, so one new district. We are working with more and new school leaders on how to use the attendance system and building on, kind of lessons learned from last year and a lot of the data and evidence that we have, sort of incorporating those and just making sure that the program and the approach is as robust as it can be, which is going very smoothly. So that partnership with the Ministry of Education is strong, and we're in the process of onboarding a university as well to interpret and really make sure that we have very rigorous understanding of the results. So we will be paying the first cash transfers in the next couple of months once enrollment, which has started last month, has kind of settled down. Usually it takes a couple of months for enrollment to be kind of fully completed in classrooms. And those vulnerable girls are being onboarded into the program once that enrollment has been completed. So year 2 in Sierra Leone is growth and going into some new schools, into some new areas. To give you an idea also of the expansion into Mali. So we'll be working in particular in the Bongoni region. So we are hoping to reach 1,000 girls there in at least 20 schools, perhaps more. We need to get a clearer idea of the children in those schools in that region. And maybe one thing to flag is part of the reason that this region is being targeted is because there is a prevalence in the area of child labour linked to mining. There are quite significant extractive industries. So we want to ensure that children are once again able to stay in school and not have to shoulder that burden. So we'll be working with primary aged girls there. And we anticipate that a significant number of those girls will actually be already out of school at the moment. So we're looking forward to kicking that off. That work is ongoing now, and we're excited to be reaching a whole load of new girls in Mali, as well as building upon and continuing working with the girls that we're already working with in Sierra Leone. So as we know, GISI is designed to reach the most vulnerable at scale. So our objective for the sort of medium to long term is to really continue to grow this program. This is a model that's designed to work at scale. We have existing established government systems that are in all of these schools. And so, the sort of infrastructure, if you will, is already in place. And it's something that we want to continue to leverage, as well as the partnerships with the support of government and other partners who offer other supportive services as well. We want to build upon all of that. Other options that we are looking at, because we really do want to expand the impact of GISI going forward, we would like to expand this to secondary schools. We know that a big challenge that a lot of girls face is that transition point between different levels of schooling. That's just something we haven't been able to, we haven't had the funding to establish this in secondary schools yet, but it's something that we know that the Ministry of Education in Sierra Leone certainly is very keen to do. We want to be able to follow those current learners who we're reaching now throughout their school career. And to onboard new learners. We know that from the evidence shows us that girls in secondary school, so in their sort of teenage years, are much more susceptible to drop out, are much more susceptible to having to take on and shoulder a lot of these other burdens that they shouldn't have to. We are looking just to do much more and change up our approaches and incorporate work in new settings with new girls and incorporate different factors and build a greater body of research around that as well. Thank you. I think that's it on our approach. So I'm going to hand over to Karen.
So I just wanted to re-emphasize that this amazing initiative is because of you. Your gifts make this possible. This is 100% philanthropically funded, and together we are building this program that we're so excited about, that is having real impact. It costs about $348, which is $29 a month, to provide the opportunity for one vulnerable girl to stay in school for a year. So we just wanted to thank you for the amazing work that you've done and that what we will be able to do moving forward. And just remind you, when Hannah and Nancy talked about this community that they are building, you are a part of that community. And that's something that you should be very, very, very proud of. And I'm going to turn it over to Teresa.
We are very thankful for all that you're doing for Lutheran World Relief and for our Girls in School initiative. I think that, as you can see, we are in it for the long haul, for the long game, for helping these girls to stay in school and giving them a future for them so that they can have a productive life and have the things that they need in order to feel as though they're really contributing to society. So I'd like to, at this point, open to questions. I would imagine that there may be some that are here.
I have a question.
Sure.
So is one of the major benefits, and I hate to bring up the word corruption, but like when you try to give money, to these countries, these poor countries, I guess sometimes it gets intercepted by the wrong people. So is one of the neatest things about your system with the data logging in the computer, was that kind of embedded to kind of prevent, corruption and get the money to where it needs to go?
Yes, I'm going to turn it over, ask Hannah to answer that one.
Yeah, it's a great question because actually, certainly that's one of the things that the system is designed to do to help the Ministry of Education actually make sure that their teachers are turning up to work. That's actually another side benefit of the system that's using this. But absolutely, in terms of the cash, so yeah, we have kind of end-to-end accountability. So that's sent electronically, so we know exactly who receives it, and we know that when it's been received, it's also been approved because that girl has been in school, and we've seen those verified sort of attendance records. So yeah, there's a lot of tracking and tracing and a full kind of like audit trail of all that spending. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want to just talk a bit, Hannah, about the fact that the app, the money goes directly to the family without necessarily going through a middle person?
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason that we purposefully do this in a sort of using electronic systems is that in Sierra Leone, mobile money is really quite common, where maybe not everyone has a formal bank account, but most people have mobile phones and with a SIM card. And in sub-Saharan Africa, it's really common to have a mobile wallet attached to that. So the money goes directly from our accounts via a financial service provider who we contract straight to their mobile phones. So it doesn't need to be kind of handed out, at school or via teachers or via other kind of officials. This goes straight to the families via using this financial service provider that we have.
What's the average age of the girls at the moment? I know you said you're trying to expand into secondary education, but for right now, what's your average age?
That's a great question. I don't have the figures to hand. Maybe one of my colleagues can help me on that. But one of the things that was actually really sort of a slight surprise to me, but in a positive way, is how many girls we have included in the program who are what we call overage. So they're not the age they should be for that grade, essentially. They're older, which represents to me that, these are girls who've had to drop out and who have rejoined, their school career has been interrupted. So they are older than, some of them are older than they would normally be for primary school girls. So there are quite a few kind of teenagers on the program who are primary school age. And that's actually just worth pointing out as well. I think Nancy mentioned this too, but we have found that the cash actually has even more impact on these overage girls than on younger girls who are receiving as well. So we're finding the cash to be even more impactful on these girls.
Thank you. Lisa, you have a question?
Yes. So can you hear me okay?
Yes.
So we all know what happened with USAID, right, earlier this year. So I'm wondering, do you think that there is potential in future for support for this program to expand from the United States government?
Well,
Or
this is
do you
not
not
government
want to
funded.
speculate?
No. Well, This is not currently funded by any institutional source. This is
Right.
all philanthropy that's driving this program at this point in time. Would there be opportunity to scale it to other other organizations or foundations? Absolutely. We are looking at all different ways to be able to expand and scale this program, both in Sierra Leone, Mali, and even elsewhere.
Yeah, I was just thinking that obviously funding from the government would help you expand if that were feasible.
We'll see what happens, Steve, did you have a question?
Yes, yes. I always like to link things together, and I know some of the other work that LWR has done in the past has been around improving agriculture, and that one of the things that I've heard is that educating girls and women is key because much of the agriculture work is done by them. The men go off and do other stuff. I don't know what it is they do, but that the ability then to handle, to understand, the chemicals, the fertilizer, the maintaining of these things, is that kind of what we're trying to do here, that a primary education, or maybe it's a secondary school education, equips them to do these types of tasks? I know the girls' inspiration was a pilot. I've seen sometimes they've talked about nursing, but I'm wondering if for the majority of these cases we have something, a little bit more, not a little bit more attainable. I don't know if attainable is the right word. Close to home. There you go. Thank you, honey.
Yeah.
That's Regina in the background.
Oh, good. Good. Well, I think this is really education at its basic level. I mean, and I say basic, it's like the education that we send our children to school here in the United States. It's a broad-based educational program, specifically right now in the primary schools, with aiming to go to the secondary schools, so that if we can help girls go from primary to secondary and then ultimately graduate from secondary school, they will have the basic knowledge, the knowledge that they would need to be able to decide whether or not they want to go into entrepreneurial programs, they want to learn about any of the materials necessary to have a thriving agricultural business or another thriving entrepreneurial business, or to go into industry. So this is really the basis for what we're trying to do for this particular program. There are functional literacy programs that help people who are in communities understand what they need to understand in order to be able to manage the agricultural work or the entrepreneurial work that they're doing. But this is really geared towards educating broadly children specifically, so that they can continue on their educational career. Hannah, would you have anything else to add to that?
No, I mean, I think that covered it. I think, there's, yeah, we see a sort of a wide range of sort of aspirations and ambitions from from some of these participants, and many of them do. Many of these communities are very agriculturally driven, and Sierra Leone has has some really great agricultural products. But yeah, so I think it's a good mix. We'll see a good mix of careers, I think, result from this program in the long run.
Sure. Thank you. Lisa, another question? Oh, okay. Lisa, can we go to the other person first and you can ask your question?
Am I on?
Yes, go ahead, Doug.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just wondering about the barriers of moving into secondary education support. Is it government or social, or is it dollar wise? What are our challenges to continue to follow these girls into secondary? Specifically, does it cost more for these girls to go to secondary school as opposed to primary?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the short answer is yes, it does. And apologies, I just saw your question in the chat as well. I haven't been keeping up on that. So yes, it does cost more for them to go to secondary. We haven't sort of started to design or plan for that shift just yet, because we're focusing right now on the expansion at primary level. But it's certainly something that we'd like to do, and that needs careful thought.
Lisa.
So I'm wondering, how do you know what girls are out there who are not attending school? Because you're talking about places where there is, at least initially, no data. So how do you find these girls, and how do you know that you're reaching all the potential, let's call them target girls in a given area? How do you figure that out?
Oh, Lisa, I'm so glad you asked. We are so Dr. Musa, who you saw on the video, on the first video, she is the director for non-formal education. So she has a government program, a Ministry of Education program that supports the reintegration of out-of-school girls in particular, because often they have particular barriers, um, maybe early marriage or sometimes pregnancy or things that might really inhibit them in particular from attending a mainstream school. And they basically get reintroduced to education through this existing government program. And then from there, we take them into mainstream school and provide that financial support to be able to do that. So that's where we are identifying girls who are in school who are vulnerable using the data, the girls who are already there, and then the girls who are out of school who need to come back into school. We're working with government to do that. And as we understand, that's a similar approach that's going to be used in Mali. But there's also there are lots of ways to answer this because there are also other initiatives going on trying to mobilize and get out of school children back into school. And there's also a lot more to be done in data around this as well. One of the things we'd like to do is try and build a repository so that someone is actually counting and tracking how many kids are out of school so that they can be better supported to come back.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I have not been looking at the chat, so if there are any questions in the chat, Kath or Megan?
All the questions in the chat have been answered.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question for Hannah and Nancy. On a personal level, what do you hope for these girls for their future?
Nancy, do you want to come in first?
Okay. Well, for me, it's exposure. I think for most of these girls, their parents have not been educated. So sometimes even when you send a message, they can't even read or they struggle even when we take in the forms for them, when we're onboarding them. So we have to explain to them. So for most of these girls, it's giving them an opportunity to see that they can become anything they so wish to become. When they see people like Mary, who's our district coordinator, she's female and she's Sierra Leone and she's one of them. And when they get to look at, they see that there is an opportunity to become what she's doing or even better. So for me, it's like exposing them to a different world, to what they're used to seeing on a daily basis in their communities, and just allowing them to dream. And I think that's my biggest dream when we're working with these girls.
Yeah, and I'd add to that as well that I think it's not unrealistic for them to have these aspirations as well. There are a number of sort of other women who work with our partners or who work in government who didn't have necessarily such an easy start themselves, but who have sort of fought to kind of make sure that they can receive the education they're entitled to. And it's really had that sort of catalytic sort of impact, and they have gone on. Those women have gone on to help other children, boys and girls alike. So I think what I would love to see is, these are children who are really forced to, as I mentioned earlier, take on the burdens of adulthood really far too quickly. They are children who are having to spend their days, evenings, weekends worrying about how to help provide put food on the table, make sure that there's fuel for cooking. And actually, it doesn't take that much just to give them that little bit of freedom back, to be able to plan for their futures. Because, we know that the outcomes of girls who don't have those opportunities for society as a whole, it's not great. We have, we see more kind of unhealthy societies, with communities trapped in cycles of poverty. It doesn't cost a lot to provide that opportunity and that freedom, and to take that burden off of these children. The effect is just wonderful. So yeah, I have great hopes for them.
Thank you. Steve, another question.
Yes. Nancy, maybe it's for you or you can answer for Mary as well. Is there something in the course of your day where you sit here and go, that's two questions. One, is there something where you sit here and go, if only I had, right? So you walk up to it and there's just one thing that's missing. And then the positive version of that question, is there one thing during the course of your day or week where you go, I'm really grateful that we have this because it makes a big difference?
Okay. I would say for me, on a daily basis, when I'm working with the girls, well, I can say for starters, I'm Zimbabwean, and so the way I speak is funny. So when they look at me, they're always fascinated with the way I speak, which is really fulfilling and fun. And it also allows them that if they like continue with school, they could one day just go to Zimbabwe and do the same thing that I'm doing with them. And I think just being able to expose them to like using a computer, for example, to know that they can Google on the internet and see what it's like outside there. I think for me, that's the one thing that I would say for the girls, like exposing them to things like that. We have also been like working with other organizations within Sierra Leone who have been working with girls as well to learn and see where we can collaborate to support these girls to expose them to some of these things. And it's really exciting. I think when I talk about the girls, I'm smiling a lot to my cheeks hurt because it's so exciting for me. So yeah, anything we can do to help support the girls to stay in school and expose them, I'm 100%.
Thank you. Are there any final or questions?
Yes, we have a couple from the chat still.
Okay.
So we have one. Harry actually answered the question. So the average age of the girls are 12, and they range from ages 8 to 16 years old, where their primary grades are 4 to 6. And then another question from Kimberly we had, will we be able to track the girls into the future, into their careers in a few years?
So, I think that's something we'd love to do. What we want to do is get, these systems into secondary schools to be able to track them through their full school careers. But yeah, we are looking at this program, at this approach overall as a long-term, investment with these governments and in these communities. This is something that, we see. We want to move far, not just move fast, and that really involves us being around in the long term. So certainly we want to try to we'll be tracking individual girls through the course of their school careers, and we want to track them beyond that. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we're grateful for your time today. As you think about this, I encourage you to reach out to one of us. If you have additional questions or you have additional thoughts about the way this program is working. We are really excited about how we're making this work, and we're excited to be working closely with Hannah and her team in Sierra Leone and now Mali to be able to do this. So we are grateful for your participation and time today and for all the support that you have provided to help Lutheran World Relief bring girls and keep girls in school. Thank you very much.